Good morning and welcome to the Year 9 into Year 10, but Key Stage 4 options film for 2025 to 2027. My name is Mr. Bartlett and I am Deputy Head Teacher for Curriculum. Today is Friday the 13th of December, hence the reason I'm wearing a Christmas jumper, as lots of other students are as well. And we are in a really important part of your child's education. Your child is in Year 9 currently, moving to Year 10. And today is an explanation of the options process and how everything works in terms of the choosing of options as we move from Year 9 into Year 10. So last Thursday, as part of the Futures Day for Year 9, they had an assembly which was approximately 50 minutes at the end of the day, where we talked through the following presentation, and I felt it's important for you to have exactly the same presentation so you know exactly how we talk about options here at the Commonwealth School, but how you can also guide your child through this process, which is exciting but also potentially quite complicated and full of lots of questions for them. So I'm going to show you the presentation, but also show you the how the options will be picked themselves, and also the booklet that is sent to you as part of this presentation process. So last Thursday, we started with a big question. You may have a very clear idea or absolutely no clue as to what you want to do at this stage. How does the Key Stage 4 option process work? They all had a couple of minutes to think about future job prospects, career interests, qualifications that they might like the idea of studying, things they've heard about, and moving into that discussion about how the options process works and what it means for them going through the stage of education, moving from Key Stage 3 into Key Stage 4. For those of you who don't know, Key Stage 3 is Year 7, Year 8, Year 9, Key Stage 4 is Year 10 and Year 11, and obviously Key Stage 5 is post 16. So curriculum pathways, we do talk about it in terms of pathways, and students are at the beginning of a stage where they're starting to think about careers potentially and long-term educational interests. It's a really important year, and it's a really important process to be part of. So what are they thinking? What do they know about it? What do they want to do as part of the next stage of their school career? We are aware that lots of people, don't know, and that's fine. And this process, as much as them thinking about what is important to them, what their core hobbies and interests, whether that's something they want to work within. But essentially, this is all about making good decisions for them, good decisions for Year 2, and us thinking about the next stages. What do they need to do that's important for them in terms of their decision making, and how we can guide them through that. So post 16 choices, whether they're here at C6 or college or apprenticeships, not all of them directly link to what you do at Key Stage 4. Some of them do. So for example, history, it's really important that you study history at Key Stage 5 with an underpinning of history at GCSE. It's really important because you're building on that knowledge. But other examples include business or psychology, economics, media studies, law. You don't have to have GCSEs in those subjects to be able to study them. So yes, it's important. And if students are thinking about post 16 now, what are they going to do when they're 16, 17, 18? How do these choices link to that, to what they're planning to do? Yes, that's important. Read up about it, talk to staff, research online. What do they need to do now to be able to help them later? Do they matter? Yes, we told them in the presentation they do. And for lots of you listening to this presentation, of course they do. We regularly talk to fully grown adults who are asked about their experiences in Key Stage 4 themselves in terms of jobs that they apply for now. It's part of the rich tapestry of life. It's part of the foundation knowledge. So yes, they are really important. They do matter, and we want our students to recognise that. At that point in the presentation, we introduced students to Miss Falaki, who was our careers advisor, but also Mrs. Phillips, who's part of our data team that works with us as part of the options process. So Mrs. Falaki stood up and talked about what Careers Advisor does. Anyone in year 9 is able to get an appointment now, but they will definitely have an appointment with her in year 10 and an importance of year 11. She explained where the office was, so it's down by room 116 and 117. She reiterated the importance of GCSE subjects and why they're important, and the grades particularly. They can lead to great decision making and next steps. We talked about a balance of subjects, and it's important to get the extreme academic, but also the extreme creative, and have a balance that's good for you. The importance of researching and what these decisions lead to in later life. Some people in the presentation, students know what they want to do as a career, so a very clear idea. So choosing options that relate to that, but it's also all right to say, I don't know, help. And that's what careers advice is there for, whether that's face-to-face or online. There are no right or wrong choices, but it's important to know that Commonweal staff do guide students towards certain pathways. We obviously have a profile of a student, and with years of research ourselves, but also experience, it's really important we get them into the right options going to year 10 for their own academic progress. There is a careers programme. Obviously, it works through lots of our subjects, but also in terms of one-to-one meetings, and you'll hear more about that as we work through year 10 and year 11. So we've got them to have a bit of a discussion. They're a year 9 student, but also a young adult too. They're getting older year by year, as much as they don't want to admit it sometimes. So we got them to have a discussion about what they want to do for work, but also this idea of financial self-sufficiency. How will they one day pay for the things that they love in their lives without having to depend on carers and parents and others to be able to pay for it for them? We find talking to 13 and 14-year-olds with this kind of angle motivational, this idea of how can you support yourself financially going into later life. So again, we came back to this idea, how does the process work? And we talked to them about making the right choice. So doing things that interest you because of your hobbies and interests, there's nothing wrong with that, and that's important. So, if you have an interest in gaming, for example, computer science fits nicely with that. If you have an interest in travel, so Spanish and French, important. If you're into museums or maybe you're into theatre, it's going to direct you into certain subjects. Again, this idea of balance, getting the balance right, that's important to support your future, but also your well-being. We don't want to get our students to choose things that are going to stress them out and cause them worry around their school experience. So all Key Stage 4 students have a booklet. You will have the booklet too that works alongside these options, where students will do English as a compulsory subject, maths as a compulsory subject, science that's either going to be combined or triple. The science faculty guides students as to whether they will do 2 or 3 GCSEs. The majority of students, interestingly, do combined. So the majority do 2. They do core PE and core social and global, and neither of those have examinations against them, but English, maths and science do. We talked about the importance of the EBacc subjects. So all students within the options process will definitely do English, maths and science as before. They need to also do geography or history or French or Spanish or computer science. They have to choose one of those 5. Now, we have made a recommendation to this year group that although it's not compulsory to do geography and history and a language, we feel it's a very good idea. Why do we feel it's a good idea? Well, according to the Department of Education, and this bit in blue here, a study by the UCL Institute of Education strongly recommends that studying these subjects provides students with greater opportunities in further education and also increases the likelihood that they'll stay on in full-time education. Research also reveals that studying the EBacc, so studying geography, history and a language, will help improve the performance in other subjects in their English and maths too. So we strongly recommend it. It's not compulsory. but we strongly recommend that students study geography and history and a language if at all possible. So how do students play their part then? So they need to read the options booklet, which is going to be sent alongside this presentation. As it says, available from the 13th of December today. You need to talk to people, but be aware that opinions may vary. So people may have had good experiences with their options, but also the opposite. So just be aware of that when they're talking to people. Who can they talk to? Parents, carers, tutors, subject teachers, heads of subjects, all of our Commonweal staff, brothers, sisters, step-brothers, step-sisters, friends, other students, heads of house, the careers guidance, the hub team. They can also look at our website and they can look at year 10 and year 11 in terms of what we study. The decisions that people have in terms of their subject choices, they need to be informed. It's really important that it comes from research. Working productively with the school community will leave our students in a better position with their options too. Those students who attend their lessons as much as possible, but their behaviour for learning is good or outstanding within the context of school, they will be in a position where they will have the options that they want. If you work with the school community, we're going to allow lots of decisions to be open to you. Again, have a clear reason for choosing the subject. Get the balance right. We've talked about this already. Understand what they're going to be doing in the 5 hours, but also the homework requirements as well. Homework is going to ramp up. That's part of the process when you're in the world of GCSE. Know how it's assessed. Understand what the subject leads to in terms of C6 possibilities or college or apprenticeships, but also the world of work. Again, if you don't choose a subject without thought. Don't just randomly choose it. We ask students to choose subjects not because their friends are doing them. Don't have peer pressure from that. It's really important they choose it because they want to choose it. Don't choose it because the present teacher might not be there as their teacher in September. It might be someone else in the faculty. And don't assume you can change. Lots of these subjects are full. So we can't just make swaps at the beginning of year 10. In most cases, we can't be that flexible. There are no easy courses. Subject knowledge is going to get better, and that's really important, but nothing's ever going to be easy. There's going to be an expectation about independent learning and homework. They need to be effective at planning, but hopefully the biggest point about this is that they're going to enjoy and also engage within those subjects. So within this presentation, there's some information around health and social care, which are newer courses, which some parents or carers might like to read up on before their child wants to choose this subject. Also GCSE photography, it's new to Commonweal. This is the second year we're running it. Again, have a read, parents and carers, as to what that means. So here's how the option process works. Students are going to be sent a username and a password, and it will look like this. This is sent to their school account, and they have to log on and they have to make a password change to get into the options module. The options module is on a website called Applica, and this is the first year we've ever used it with year 9 going to year 10. So beware, it's a process we need to go through bit by bit by bit to get students logged on. Once they're in, they need to press accept, and that's going to allow students to get into the module. They then click on GCSE options, and then they're going to start seeing a form like this. So they're being asked, it says at the top, they have to choose one of computer science, French, geography, history, or Spanish, and then they need to choose 3 other subjects, and then they need to choose a reserve. Going back to the UBAC, we strongly suggest French and geography and history or Spanish to make up 2 of those, but it's not compulsory. So this is what the option form looks like. We've gone through the rules with students, but again, you can talk through this with them. You cannot pick art and graphics. That will result in 1 GCSE only, and we want students to be able to get 2 if they're going to choose 2 different subjects. So you cannot choose art and graphics together. You can do art and photography, You can do graphics and photography, but you can't do art and graphics. You cannot do computer science and iMedia. Same reason. You cannot do CNAT, sport studies and PE. You can't do. You have to do one or the other. And you can only pick 3 of CNAT, sport studies, iMedia, health and social care, and or hospitality and catering. The form very much lets you fill it in a particular way, so lots of the rules will be picked up on when the student is filling in the form. There will be certain error messages that might come up, so it will not allow the student to press submit without going through this process. So it asks for a ranking. We want to know what is the most important of those 4 choices versus the least important, and then obviously the reserve is the reserve. So I've done an example for you. So let's imagine that I want to choose 4 subjects. I choose history, I choose Spanish, I choose RPE, and I choose drama. So that's what it looks like. So tick, 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 tick. I've chosen history and Spanish as per the EBAC, and then I've also chosen media as a reserve. Okay, so again, the EBAC is not compulsory, but we're recommending for those who are staying on into education term. Okay, so that's what the ranking looks like, and then you're able to move that as needed. And you have until the 17th of January to do this. If a student logs in, they make their choices, they press submit, and they decide, oh no, I want to do history instead of geography, or I want to do French instead of Spanish, they can go back in, log in, and they can make those changes all the way up to the 17th of January, and then it's locked. They can't do anything else. So other advice that's useful for you to know, Unifrog is a really useful website. They've all got a login there. You can watch little videos, you can click on articles, you can have a look at different subjects, insights related to sort of long-term benefits of studying those subjects. So just be aware of that. Some really useful websites for you to click on as well. So UK Course Finder, ucas.com, The Guardian, for example, iCloud, just great, bits and bobs for you to look through and discuss at home. And then some final dates then. They had their Year 9 assembly last Thursday. The options information is released to parents and carers and students today. Deadline 2025, obviously, Friday, 17th of January. And then we consult and we work with students to make sure that they are picking the right subjects, everything's right without any errors. We write the timetable and begin into year 10. Final thing I want to show you is this. So this is the options booklet, which you'll see on the website. And there's a little introduction from me that you can read through that talks about EBAC and also how the process works. And then we start moving into all the different subject areas. All the links are there, all the different subject areas like that. So all our heads of subjects have written what the course involves, different components, what it can lead to, any useful information that you need to do or you need to make note of to help you make this important decision. So thank you very much. My name has been Mr. Bartlett with this presentation. My email address is there if I'm needed for any part of this. Thank you very much. Have seasonal greetings for the next couple of weeks. Good luck. I hope it all goes well in terms of the filling in process. Thank you very much.